Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the Russell County Board of Supervisors meeting, March the 1st, 2021, at 6 p.m. in the Russell County Board of Supervisors room. I'd like to first start off with a call of order and roll call. Tim Lovelace.
Here.
Luann Wallace. Carl Ray.
Here.
David Eaton.
Here.
Steve Brady.
Here.
Horace Christian. And Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Ma'am, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm going to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge, please. Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you today to ask for your guidance, wisdom, and support before you. Thank you for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. Thank you for leading, guiding, and direct us. Help us to make the best decisions for the people of Russell County. Help us do it with a pure, clean heart, that we may do what is best for our friends, our relatives, our neighbors, and all the people that we are to lead in this county. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to go on an executive session at the end of our regular meeting in pursuit of Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711.A.1.
Something that's not on the agenda, so there would need to be a second for that, and a vote for that. Motion, and for clarification, it's just personnel only, right? And, okay. Personnel only. Just to clarify. There is a person sitting outside, and there's a room here, everybody's not in this room, do a roll call. Okay, that's fine.
We'll do a roll call on this, on the ended agenda. Mr. Lovelace?
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
Horace? To amend the agenda, what you
Yes.
asked. Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. So all ayes, we will amend the agenda with an executive session at the end of the meeting. He said at the end, so that we would have to put that, for adjournment. Matt, Horace, you want it presented matters before the board? Is that where you want it? right before that. You want it right before matters presented by the board. You want to put it there. That's what Steve is asking. You'd like to have it at before matters presented by the board.
Right before we close, we'll put it right before we close, and, you know, she has not asked if there are any matters presented.
Yeah. Right. They won't be, we're going,
It's just a line item on the agenda. We'll go back there and discuss this and then come out and do matters presented by the board.
board. Yeah. Yeah, and then it'll end, then it'll be at the agenda. Adjourn. All right. Now, with that being added, now, do I have a motion to accept the amended agenda? All right, Oris, do we have a second?
We'll second it, yes.
Okay. All right, Lou, all those in favor of that, putting it there, that's where you want it, right? Correct? Got it all taken care of. Everybody's voted yes, that's where you want it. Okay, we've got it. We've already voted, yes, we're just, I'm trying to explain to him where we'll put it. It's already been amended, we've already voted, and that's where it's gonna be. Correct? Yeah, okay. All right, the first thing we have on our agenda now is our, yeah, everybody did vote, yeah. Our presentations is Debbie Mill, Cumberland Plateau Planning District.
I'm with the Cumberland Plateau Planning District. Can y'all hear me okay? I've been working with the PSA on the Belfast Waterline Extension Phase 3. Basically, we're in construction right now on Phase 2. We're going to hook up 47 households. And in your package, you'll have a resolution. And right now, we don't know those numbers to be solid, but the application is due April 1st, and I wanted to come and let you all look at the application and get your all's permission that if the numbers don't change, or if they do, that you all give Alonzo permission to sign it, to go into the application. The reason I'm here so early is because the application is April 1. So there is between 47 and 73 customers in that area. But we have to go door to door. You have to get user agreements. You have to get low to moderate income surveys. And we're still in the process of doing that. But we plan on asking the Department of Housing for $1 million in grant funds. We've already received $100,000 from Coalfield and $72,550 from Southwest money, and that'll do the project. We're still sort of in the early stages of getting some of the work done. So if that's okay, I'd like for you all to someone make a motion to approve that, the resolution.
I'll make a motion to pass that resolution and give the county administrator the authority to review the numbers and approve the movement forward.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Katie, is there still folks outside? Still, okay, let's do roll call. Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes, ma'am.
Steve?
Yes.
Oris?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. Will.
Thank you all.
Take care of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Debbie. The next presentation is with the Deputy Sheriff, Mr. Porter, and Mickey Ray, our building inspector, on the Russell County litter and unsafe building reports.
Do you want us to talk about these, or do you got questions going down the list?
Talk about your visits, please. Things.
Let's just start at the top. Okay, the Red Oak Ridge 4478, like it says, we've inspected the property and no one appears to be at home. That goes down through all that. Let's get to the bottom, the last one. On 219, Mr. Porter and me went and looked at that and recommended, no, they're not answering anything. They're not answering any letters or anything about cleaning up.
Here.
Top one.
I,
Does the
I
bo-
left them a notice to
Yeah.
contact me, and the gentleman called dispatch, I think 3 times, and I was off work at the time. Actually made 2 attempts to go to the Reds and speak with him, can't find any vehicles there. If I can get in contact with him, I'll go ahead and issue the 2-week notice for the litter ordinance, and if he's not in compliance after that, I'll go ahead and issue a summons, as far as that goes, so. What's next, Mickey?
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead,
yeah, do you?
Go ahead,
This is one we've been
Fire
after
away.
a long time.
fire away.
That's why I'm,
Okay, so I have a question. So we're at the point where you have to give him or her or this person this document,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
So does that, can you not do that through certified mail?
I can, I just haven't done it with him yet.
Okay.
Where he's called me a couple times, trying to give him the opportunity to let me come out and speak with him before I just send him a notice in the mail.
Thank you. Very
Yeah.
good. That ends my question.
Okay, okay. $49.82 View Road. Yours may not be on there, I think it's just mine.
oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Let's go to the second one. 4982.
You're good right there, Lonzo. Yep.
That's
That's you or me.
you.
That's the one we just went over.
Yep. Oh, was it?
4982
So
View
we're
Road.
gonna go to the one before it then.
You're wanting to go to 4478 Red Oak Ridge.
Right,
That's yours right there.
right. No improvements to the site. Recommended to proceed with legal action if the Russell County Board of Supervisors approves. They're not answering anything, nothing's been done to it.
It's abandoned. I mean, it looks like the backside's been burnt off. I mean, it's growed up. Don't look like there's anybody. And as far as the litter around it, you know, the structure gets demolished and all that'll go with it.
Yeah. So I'm just asking, do we proceed?
Let's see what we got on there next. Banner Street, that's gonna be you again, Mick. Yes, sir.
I've took pictures of this one. It'll take minimal work on this one on Banner Street. It don't have power on it. Some of the roof's caving in on the edges. It'll take little bit of roof work. It's pretty well secured from the public getting in it. But to clean it up and far as do that, I was gonna send them a notice to do that. That's the one on 2625 Banner Street. Okay, Talbot Street's yours.
Talbot Street, it's actually gonna be 108 Delph Street. It's gonna be straight across from Talbot Street. I spoke with the resident there. She rents the residence. Phyllis Shields is her name. I've already issued her a 14-day notice, and I told her I will be back to follow up with her. If she's making progress, I told her, I said, we might be able to give you a little bit more time. I said, but you have to make progress. If not, we'll have to take legal action, as far as that goes. I also took pictures of that as well.
Good.
Winchester.
Winchester's that old hotel in Old Castlewood down near the river. We went on the 19th also. I took a lot of pictures. I'm in real close to send to the property owner what needs to be done. It's very a rickety type building. The front could fall off down in the road. So I'm proceeding forward with the certified letter that has to go.
The people that own that or that are listed there, are they still at that address in St. Paul? Does anybody, have they responded to you at all?
No.
The community is real concerned
Okay.
about that falling in the road, and if it does, it's gonna completely block the whole.
Well, once
thing.
we know it's there now and took pictures and send a notice, if
Okay.
we don't, there might be some liability there. since we know it's there and could fall, we've gotta proceed with it.
Okay, thank you.
The washer and dryer
Yeah.
business on down Sun outside of Dane. We went to Dane, came back through and checked. There's only 3 appliances sitting outside, so he has completely cleaned that whole parking lot up. So he is in compliance now, so.
You go around to the back of it?
I can go back.
Okay,
Should I?
maybe.
Okay.
Okay. What we should do,
I can do that.
Somebody in
Lewis
the audience said
property.
yes, please.
I can do that.
which one's that?
That's the one up near Secret Harbor.
Okay.
One that where the creek was washing out. The Lewis property in Dane, we got the report that, the tenants were throwing trash into the creek. From what me and Mickey observed, it appears that that trash is coming out from that holler, and the reason I say that is because the trailer that's right beside of it, it's clean around it. There's no trash on the porch, there's nothing else, so I don't think those tenants are purposely throwing it in there. I think it's washing out, because there's no single wide, and there's no house up top. So it's very possible a heavy rain or snow melt has washed that down. But I'm gonna keep a watch on it. If it gets worse, then I'll know.
All right, we checked on the Gene Couch Memorial Drive.
It appears he's put some field dirt in there, and there is minimal brush now. There's no, like there was shingles and trash and that kind of thing. We didn't observe any of that. I don't know if he's brought a dozer in there and had them push dirt or what, but I'll keep a watch on that as well.
So the shingles and stuff is gone.
Yeah, unless
We
they
didn't
just-
see any.
Unless they just covered them up with dirt, they're not there now.
Okay.
Trouble trailer.
That's you. That's that one up there.
We have sent the notice to have that junk moved. It's a old abandoned trailer, no windows, doors, sides falling in. We sent the notice.
When did we, was that on 2/19/21?
That's when we observed it,
Okay,
yes.
but you sent the letter how many years ago?
Oh, we're starting right here now. We're
Back to
starting,
square one?
yes, we're starting right here.
All right, thank you.
And guys, I do understand that all these that we've named are in Castlewood. I do have other complaints in Honaker and Lebanon and Cleveland as well that I'm gonna follow up with. I just have to find the time I have to work patrol plus do this, so if y'all just be patient with me, I'll make it happen.
Well, let me inform you a little bit. I met with Mr. Hurt on Fairmont, and he has agreed to, he actually, while I was there, we contacted a company with the excavator, and he has agreed to, he went ahead and contracted the guy to come and clean that up. And then the building up, like going toward Tunnel Hill, Mickey probably knows about it, it was sold, and they are totally restoring and remodeling that building. They're going to,
Which one?
the old bank building, out on Tunnel Hill Road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they said they were gonna get in touch with you, and they have purchased that property, and they're gonna do a complete renovation, and it's gonna be kinda like a historic opportunity. But I wanted to let y'all know, I met with those families and got that pretty much under control, so you can take them two off. The only one I have is in Swords Creek with the trash pile up. You know about it. Yeah, you know about it, but other than that, only question I have, I guess this goes to legal maybe, is who pays for the cleanup, and do we take will the county take a lien against the property and be able to sell it under tax sale?
Yes, we pay for the cleanup. We remove it at our cost, but then we assess that as a tax, and it gets assessed, you know, and
Okay.
we can enforce that by doing the tax sales, and we can release that lien, you know, if it wasn't, I guess, to tear it down or anything, or if it was, you know, you had a lot, then you could release that lien if you had a buyer, and that was gonna help you get it out of the county's hands and back on the tax rolls. But we cover the cost initially, but it gets assessed to the property owner.
Okay, do we have like an ideal estimate of what it would cost per property to clean it up? I know it's gonna depend on how bad, some of them's really bad, but that's just like an example on that one that's about to fall on the road. That's pretty critical. I mean, that needs to be addressed like yesterday, 'cause you don't want any kind of incident or accident or anything like that now that we're aware of it. So I'm just wondering about the time period of that, and some of them probably need to be addressed quicker than others, you know, to make sure that we won't have any liability issues. So what would our attorney?
Well, the ordinance for that one in particular that they were discussing about falling out in the road, you have to give written notice by certified or registered mail. And then you also you have to publicize it for once a week for 2 successive weeks. And that notice can be done prior to the board voting, and this board has to give the building inspector approval to take action. So if that one is as critical as we're talking about, my advice would to go ahead and make that recommendation to the board to approve that action and put that notice in, because still, even after you publish that, even after the newspaper runs, nothing can be done for 30 days following the newspaper publication.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Any other questions, guys?
We're down to our
One
last
more?
one.
What's our last one?
You won't know anything about it, I do.
That's yours, okay.
That's one up near the,
It is.
well, we started this 3 years ago.
Yes.
We're ready to do action because they're not responding to anything. So we gotta go forward. My recommendation is to go forward.
Okay. And we skipped one, and I'm curious. The Mew Road,
I think that was the first one I talked
wait a
about.
minute. The Ratliff on Mew Road,
Yes.
did I miss you hearing you say anything about that?
That was the first one I was talking about, that I had left a notice on his door and he's been trying to contact me. Is it 44?
Have they got are the ones with the dogs?
Yes, those are the ones with the dogs, yes ma'am. Yeah, like I said, I've left him a notice to contact me.
Feeding the dogs?
I called Josh Horner, they don't look like it. Yeah, so I called and let Josh Horner know, and he said he would check back with them, so. That was the last one we went over,
That's the one she asked me about.
you're good on it, right, the gobble trailer?
If my neighbors and everybody that's calling me is good with it, I'm good with it.
Yeah, it's a fallen down structure, so.
Okay, Madam Chair, at this time, are we looking for a motion to help our gentleman out that's took their time to come out here tonight and work on this for all of us? A blanket motion, or do we have to do it individually?
If you're taking the same action on all of them, then you can, but I don't know if that was what was in the list that was provided. I don't think that was what was requested, so, obviously, the ones that I think that, Officer, Porter is working with, I mean, he's not requesting you to do anything right now. How many are you requesting, Mickey, that they go ahead and approve you to proceed with the ability to repair and remove?
Especially the 4458 on Oak Ridge Road.
And the old Winchester Hotel,
That's 2 of those.
the Red Oak Ridge Road,
Mm-hmm.
Gobble Trailer.
Yes. Right. It's 4, right? 4 of them.
Winchester Hotel, and let's see, and who was it? Red Oak Ridge, Gobble Trailer, Winchester Hotel, and
Lower Barrel Wall.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Lower Barrel Wall.
the burned out trailers, we call it. The Hilltop.
So that's 4 for Mickey, 4 for you to continue action. So how should she say her motion for that? If they're all gonna be him to move forward with those 4 properties.
With these critical properties.
Just be a motion to enforce I think we've got listed, characterized as the unsafe building ordinance, and to give the requisite notice prior to making any repairs or removals.
What you said, okay. Unsafe ordinance as far as I got. I don't shorthand it, but okay. That's okay. Okay. You have it, Madam Chair?
I'm trying to write it, but I'm not sure how to. Enforce the unsafe building ordinance for Mickey, our building inspector, to move forward with those 4 buildings. That's 4 properties.
With the unsafe building ordinance on 4 particular properties that you consider to be critical. That's my motion.
We're gonna make sure they do.
All right,
Second.
Tim,
Aye.
David, Steve,
Aye.
Oars, Lou,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
and Rebecca. Yes. Lou, you want with Cuba's?
As far as mine, there's really not any approval that the board would have to give, yeah. If it's not in compliance, I issue a summons. Virginia Uniform Summons, just like a speeding ticket, and they'll come before the judge, the Commonwealth Attorney's already aware, and then we'll proceed that way, which could be, a fine, a court order to clean it up, whichever one. And if they don't comply, they gotta tell the judge why they didn't comply.
I've got a quick question for the attorney, I guess. Since it's already a approved ordinance, why would we need to make a motion if it's already an approved ordinance?
For the unsafe building ordinance?
Yeah, I mean-
That's what the ordinance requires.
I know it requires a motion on each
It
individual.
says approval. It
Okay,
says
thank
it has
you. Thank you.
discussion and open.
Thank you, Mickey. That
Also,
ordinance
guys,
needs to be changed.
Also, guys, if you want to get with Lonzo, he has an email address for me and a phone number. He can send it to all of you. That way, if y'all get a complaint individually, as far as the litter ordinance, you can send it straight to me. Okay?
Really appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
My folks really appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
He asked that question. I think it's good to be brought before the board so that we all can take blame for taking action, not just put it on y'all's shoulders. That's what I think about it. They blame y'all, but then if you bring it before the board, we all have to share the blame.
That's-
All right, our third presentation tonight is to welcome Sharon Rice, the new Virginia Tech Cooperative Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences. So, yep, and Mr. Scott Jesse.
She does have a 3-page speech, I guess.
She does. Guys, good to be with you. Thanks for your continued support of Virginia Cooperative Extension and educational programs in agriculture, family, consumer science, and 4-H. First off, thank you for our new space up on the other end of the building. Super. Steve told me we were going to have to move, and I almost got down. I was like, no, don't make us leave. Special thanks to Lonzo for helping us get all that coordinated and getting us moved up the
Anything.
hall. That was super. If you haven't been by, please come by and see it. We're really proud of it. Second is our new Family and Consumer Science Extension Agent, Sharon Rice. Sharon comes to us to fill the position that Donna Mead left upon retirement, and it was a surprise to us to be able to fill it. You guys know how state funds are, and university funds are no different, and we were able to get her in here through internal transfer. And I talked to Alonzo in December about pursuing the position, and he said, if we can get that money, don't let her get away. So here she is, Miss Sharon Rice.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about being here. I do have 17 years of experience in health and wellness, public health nutrition, and I plan on still doing some programming that Donna Mead had in place, but also picking up a little more nutrition and those kind of things. Yeah, I transferred here January the 25th. Right now, I'm housed in Russell, so I'm here on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'm in Tazewell on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And right now, I'm teleworking on Fridays, which is great. So, but yeah, I'm excited to be here. So, thank you so much. Do you guys have any questions or anything for me?
Just thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our presentations. Next is new business. We need a motion for it to approve the minutes. I hope everyone's had an opportunity to read and go over them. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I have one question about the minutes, concerning approving the change in the emergency management coordinator job description. It's got here that I voted yes on that last meeting, and I had intention of voting no. Like I say, so much going on, and I couldn't understand
Mr. Kitchen, I just conferred with Vicky, who keeps the minutes, and your vote was yes for that. I don't know if you I can't go back and change that now. I understand.
You can't go back and change?
No, not your vote.
Well, I'll go on record tonight as saying I do not agree to change it.
Well, I understand that's your position, and you know, I don't know what happened, if there was confusion, but that's what the minutes are, and so that, what you're voting to approve are the minutes that accurately reflects what took place at that meeting, and I just conferred, and so when we did take that vote, that your vote was yes at that time.
That's why I say we need a roll call and we need mics so people can understand what is going on. There's several things that night I didn't understand what was taking place. That's why I'm very strongly for having mics that I can hear and the audience can hear. And then when it's put on the video for people here at home, view it, they can also hear.
If you ever have any trouble hearing me, just please tell me and I'll speak up or speak more into the mic. I don't mind at all.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'll offer a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, do we have a second? All those in favor? Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Oris?
Yes.
Lou?
With
Yes.
regret.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes, we will approve the minutes. The next thing we have on the agenda is the approval of our expenditures. Do I have a motion to approve the expenses as presented for this month?
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Second with David. All those in favor? Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Oris?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. Our next thing on the agenda is our citizens' comment. Please limit it to 3 minutes. State your name and your address and your concern. Do you have a sheet for us? Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate it. We have Ira Eads. If you'll
Yeah,
state your name, address, and tell us your concern, please, sir.
all right. I guess it is working. Yeah, I'm Ira Eads. I live down there I guess it'd be Nat Wright Trail. And they made a complete dump site. And yeah, I talked to, I can't think of that police name, but Mickey and them outside. And they supposed to get up there and address it and all that. And he said the guy from VDOT was in here, and I was going to speak with him about it, about the road, stuff. Because, I mean, it's an old banded road, and it's just plumb nasty up there. So, that's the reason I wanted to come out here and talk to you, but I talked to them outside and everything. I'm sorry about this, but I get out of breath because I had a massive heart attack, got out of the hospital Monday. So, yeah, but, yeah, I just want to come out here and try to see if I can get somebody to clean all that up and help us out down there, because, I mean, it's a real bad eyesore. And
Is this correct, sir? 974 Nat Wright Trail?
yes, ma'am.
Is that Lebanon?
It'd be Cleveland, but it's a New Garden district.
So it's Cleveland?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a Cleveland address, but it's, when I pay house taxes stuff, it's a New Garden district.
Is that up there
You know where it is, Peanut?
Anthony Hart and them, where they was dumping all that stuff?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I know me and Carl went down there and looked at that.
It's pitiful.
It's awful. It's horrible, actually.
Yeah.
It's an illegal dump site. That's
Oh, yeah.
exactly what it
Yeah.
is. And I know Carl probably feels the same way.
Mhm.
You already talked to him, didn't
Yeah.
you? But yeah, I don't know. Is it on the road area of a VDOT right away, or is it on private property?
It's right against the road. The road drops straight off.
Okay,
They just stop beside the road and just,
throw it out.
Throw it
Yeah, I
out.
know it's horrible. I mean, it is.
yeah, and see, there's nobody lives on that road. And Miss Wilson, she owns a little piece up through there, and let's see, Combs is on a little piece, And then I own some of it, and Anthony Hart owns some of it, and Mr. Alan Ratchstick. And, you know, it would probably be better just to close it on each end, because the way the upkeep is on it, like right now, it's got big ruts washed in it. So, I mean, you're gonna have to go in there, and VDOT have to scrape it, clean ditches.
I know we had talked to the sheriff's department about setting up a camera. I think I talked to Lonzo, the county administrator, about that, about trying to catch them. Something to set up, you know, and we had, I think Steve and them's got the cameras, don't they? 4 of them. They agreed to go down there and place a camera up to try to catch these people
Yeah.
doing it.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I'm supportive of trying to get it cleaned up. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, I'd do anything, you know. Like I was telling Mickey, I've got a pile of tires in my field down there, and beside my yard, that they started rolling them off the top, and there's tires from the top all the way down, comes on my property. I have to pile them up. I guess I have to take them landfill, you know?
I
And-
sent Lonzo some pictures, all that. It was just 3 or 4 big sites. It was a bunch of aluminum, it was a couch, a love seat, old grill, and now it's building materials over the hill. It was like 3 or 4 sites. Now it's up to probably 9 or 11 sites down there that just
Oh, yeah.
keeps piling
I mean,
up.
And on the weekends, it's like you know, like a party place. I mean, you go up through there on a Monday, you can find needles, you can find everything, you know?
Thank you. We'll make sure y'all are aware of it, and we'll call Mickey and have them go look at it for you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, I
Thank
sure
you. We'll
appreciate
see that they go out.
All right.
Sorry you've got a mess.
I appreciate it.
All right. Is there anyone else? Is there any other citizen that has anything to say? Yes, all right. State your name.
William Ralph King, 64 Ratcliffe Lane, Cedar Bluff, Virginia. My issue was a PSA, and I want to thank you, Mr. Lester, personally. I want to thank you, Mrs. Dye, for getting involved in it. We have found out a lot about our mail system here in Southwest Virginia in regards to the mail south of Rosedale Post Office and north of Rosedale Post Office. I think it's time that the board gets involved with our congressmen and our senators, and let's take it to DC and get it resolved with where this mail goes to. It's a built-in delay, and they're well aware of it, and it needs to be taken care of. I'll be more than glad to work with you. As I said, I have known some of the senators in Northern Virginia. I'd be more than glad to get the help to help you with it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else? Any other comments? Any other citizens' comments? All right, seeing none, we'll close and we'll move on to our constitutional officers. And I don't believe I see any folks, none here. Next, we have our county attorney reports and request.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first thing I have for the board's consideration tonight is the renewal of the manpower agreement with the Waste Management Authority. This is an agreement that we had previously enacted, and there have been no changes. The only addition is the addendum, which we have already approved to deal with the COVID issues. I've reviewed that, and I don't have any concerns with it and would ask you to approve that.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the manpower agreement?
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Oris?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next thing I have for the board's consideration is the renewal of the continuity ordinance. This was something I'd sort of let slip away because I was hoping that we would just be over with it, and I think we're very close. But I am asking the board to renew this ordinance, and we do have to hold a public hearing to do that. It would be in place for 6 months, but as we've enacted it before, if there comes a time that we do not need it at all, the board could repeal it at that time. At the conclusion of this, emergency continuity ordinance, we have to do a recertification of all the minutes, and so, I think it helps to just keep it a little bit longer and do that at the end. And also there, other boards of the county do fall under it. I know, at least one board would like to continue, to do electronic meetings at this time. So I would ask the board to, the county administrator's already advertised for a public hearing. I would ask the board to have a continued meeting to next, Monday so that we can enact this ordinance again.
Make our motion at the end of the meeting for you, but that'll be fine.
Yes, just make a motion for the continued meeting.
For continued meeting.
The notice for the public hearing's already been given, so,
And we really can't approve it until after the public hearing, right?
yes.
Great.
To renew it, you have to have the same mechanism in place as you do to enact it, so. But again, I hope this will be the last time.
We do too. We're hoping everything, spring's coming, and we're hoping it lightens up a little bit. Okay, next.
The next item for the board's approval, I worked with the county administrator based upon the board's motion or action at the last meeting to have the county administrator act as the director of emergency management services. We had updated the coordinator of emergency management services job description. After that meeting, we did, Lonzo and Vicky and myself, we did meet with the coordinator and go over that job description and agreed to make a few changes. They were very minor changes that were more, not so much from my advice, but just logistical on working with Lonzo and the coordinator. So, but any changes in job descriptions do have to be approved by the board. So I would ask the board to approve. It's basically the same as what you approved last time with just a few minor changes.
So moved.
David?
I'll second for discussion purposes.
All right, Steve, second. Go ahead.
Okay, Lonzo, explain these two words that were changed from the version in the packet.
On the version, okay, that was a little loud, hot, but the changes that were made from the previous version was on line item number 15 under emergency management oversight, line item number 15. We had met with the emergency management coordinator, and one of the things they wanted to stipulate in there was to include the jobs that were performed as the hazardous material coordinator. So in line number 15, as it states, as the hazardous material coordinator works with the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, will to develop hazardous response and other environmental incident plans as needed to properly respond to the hazardous material incidents concerning waste handling and waste disposal. That, other than that, everything else was just the minor words, but that was the only thing that really defined this job description.
Any further discussion? Yes, when we looked at items number 9, Board of Supervisors, there was issues with the pandemic and the flood that came about at almost simultaneously. One, to get the flood grants in for reimbursement, that was one of the holdups. For the emergency management coordinator to be able to perform his duties with the pandemic, of course, we had the reimbursements for the FEMA were delayed. So now, as far as the FEMA reimbursement, to get some of that burden off of him and move it into as far as reimbursement. Now, the emergency management coordinator, as an incident happens, whether it's a flood or a snowstorm,
he will still go out and do the assessment. He will still go out and get the estimates. He will still go out and perform the work. This component of the reimbursement is what we do administratively with every other grant in the county. We will run them through our systems. We have access to the paperwork. We have access to the timesheets. It just seemed more efficient to keep it where it's at. That way we can proceed with it and let him continue doing the core jobs of assessment and FEMA. Well, as far as the grants are bringing money in the county, this is reimbursement. This is money that the county has expended. So it's really not free money. It's getting the money back that the towns and the counties and the PSAs that has already expended. Yes, that's correct. That's what we want to do. So we're going to, in future ones, and we did discuss it, Katie and I, during this time, concerning the grants, like I said, the previous, he will still do the field assessments, he will still do the reporting, still do the construction, but when it comes to the grants to speed the paperwork up, let him do the job as an emergency management coordinator, we will do the paperwork just like we do for the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, the schools, the other Department of Justice, the RSOs, these other grants, Belfast, PSA. We handle these, so we've got dedicated systems to be able to move through the system to get the costs quickly and submit these grants as we need within time. Yes, sir.
All right, any
Any more
further
questions?
discussion? All right, with that being said, we'll vote to accept this job description. We have a motion by David, second by Steve. All those in favor? Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Orris?
No.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last thing I have for you, we've sort of already discussed today, the litter ordinance. I had been reviewing this ordinance recently due to some questions about its enforcement, and in it, I've discovered there's a few inconsistencies in it. Time frames where it says 10 days and then it says 14 days in the notice, and also the code sections are a little outdated. So my recommendation to the board is you do have to set a public hearing to amend an ordinance, and you have to give 30 days notice of that. So what I'm asking the board to do is to set the litter ordinance for a public hearing to be amended at the April 5th meeting. My understanding is the board doesn't really want to make this a more restrictive ordinance, but we want to make it usable so that people can, when they do have the issues like we've heard about today, that they're able to get that corrected. One other thing that I suggest that I would like to be able to look into in revising this is there is a provision right now that says a citizen can enforce it, but there really isn't any discussion about that. And if it is legally possible to make it easier for citizens to go to court, for instance, to enforce that, I think that would be something beneficial, as you just have, ability for one litter officer, and oftentimes the situation gets cleaned up and then it goes back. It goes back, and so maybe that would be better for property owners if we can make the ordinance a little bit more user friendly for them to enforce as well. So that's something I would like to try to look at, if that's okay with the board. Just to set a public hearing to revise the litter ordinance.
And Chair, I'll make a motion, we set a public hearing to hear the revisions on the litter ordinance for our next board meeting.
All right, Steve, do we have a second?
Second.
Lou, any discussion?
I got
Yeah.
one question.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned, I guess, about the action added action about giving citizens the right, because if you have a disgruntled neighbor and they just don't like you, and they can utilize the county ordinance to cause issues or problems, I'd like to be more defined. I'd like to get more defined on that and what that looks like, because I know you might have a lot of tractor equipment. It's not junk, it's not trash, it's just there. And I'd hate to see one neighbor against another neighbor just because they don't like them, and us create an ordinance that would cause that kind of issues. It could be more than, it could be a Hatfield-McCoy issue, not a legal issue. You know, and I think we need to really look at that a little bit more closely and communicate, you know, with our citizens to see how that would actually look.
Okay, I'm gonna look at that and I'll give you the language and what I envisioned was it would be more spelled out, because right now the ordinance does allow for, it says citizens can enforce it, but I mean, they would not know how, I mean, for the most part, they wouldn't be able to make that work, but I do see what you're saying, and I think, you know, part of that is gonna be going to court, and they would have to have evidence, and, but I'll look into that, and if it's something that the board is not comfortable with, it's just something I thought, based on some of the issues that have come back to me, that might be a helpful option, but that's definitely up to the board. But I do think we should fix the where it's inconsistent with each other.
Madam Chair, one more thing. The last time that we went through this, we just basically codified, is my saying, that we did this ordinance. If we're going to make proper changes to it, I think we had some confusion the last time anyway. But if we're going to make changes to it, I would like to see the ordinance left as it is, line it out, add the verbiage so that I don't get so confused, because when we keep getting copies of things, I don't know what's been changed or whatever. So if you just mark through it, like, what do they call those things, track changes or something?
I can do that. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that so that you can see what's been changed and added. And really, I'm just going to take once I discover, and it's been fairly recently that I've discovered that was inconsistent. So there may be more when I look at it a little bit closer. You just want to fix it so you do have something that is enforceable in the instances where it's necessary. I mean, but I understand you don't want it to be able to be abused either. So.
Yes, and we have officers and paid staff that are trying to do their job, and I don't want to handcuff those folks either. So, yes, thank you.
All right, with their motion and discussion, now all those in favor of setting the public hearing on April the 5th to discuss any new verbiage or clarification of their ordinance. Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Orrs?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. Ms. Katie, is that all for you? Okay. Next, we have the county administrator's reports and request. Mr. Lester?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First up on the county administrator reports, of course, is this is the proposed new disposal site center for the Daint and Hamlin and Sun and Gravel Lick area. As you can see on the screen, this is the conceptual design for the redevelopment plan as we go through. And as the county as we took over the disposal in the county and we do our own transfers, one of the things that the board wanted to see, again, everyone, we've talked a little about litter and trash all night. Sorry about that. And this is continuing. The board supervisors wanted to consolidate our trash to man sites, extend the hours, and do certain things. Well, this is another step in that at a plan. So we have put in sites in Lebanon. We have put in additional sites in Dogtown. We have put in sites in Cleveland, and these are manned sites, and these seem to be working very, very well, not just from an operational perspective, but they have been working from a cost perspective too, because we can haul more trash when it's compacted at a 10 to 12 ton rather than the open tops and it flying out off the road and coming out the tarps off the back, etc. But they're trying to get very efficient at this, and this is the next one. And Virginia Tech stepped in on this one to look at the concept and the design on it, as you can see. And of course, we've looked at a couple of sites to make sure that from an environmental perspective, everything was correct on it, and if there was any concerns that we needed to be looking at before we started developing. And as we have built these, we've got a learning curve on these that we've been, gaining on, as far as building on ramps that you see. You see these at the Lebanon site. I talked to Mr. Lovelace about that this morning. There's things that we have learned on the efficiency of operations to get these things down. Brian Ferguson, he is my disposal site manager, and he is excellent on site development. He knows how to move these things through, how to move the traffic through, and I will put our trash sites, believe it or not, against any county that you go to. Go to Washington County. You go over, and just as you go through, stop and see what they've got compared to what we've got. There is no comparison. But again, we're able to do this cost efficiently while saving the taxpayers money. We keep it clean, we keep it nice in the neighborhood, we keep them within a 15-minute radius with each other, so that way no one is driving 30, 40, 50 minutes to drive their trash. And to make a long story short, this one is in the proposed, like I said, the Dank, Hamlin, Sun, and Gravel Lick area. We have looked at 2 or 3 different sites, and we're trying to come up, as you can see, one was in the Sun. We have looked at down towards Hamlin and the description on it. And I wanted to bring this before the board tonight to start the process just like we did at Cleveland, just like we did at Dogtown, just like we did at Lebanon. This is the next site that's ready to begin, construction. We have had Cardinal Environmental. They have looked at it. They've done an ESA 1 and an ESA 2. What that is, that's environmental assessment, and it has been cleared to move forward. As you can see here on the overview on one of the sites, as like I said, we have learned a lot of lessons on this, on how to structure these for the open tops and the drive-throughs and the recyclables. And these sites are, like I said, unmatched in surrounding counties in Southwest Virginia. So as the next, we will start proceeding on these sites, this site or the negotiations for it. And hopefully this will be in place this summer. Is there any questions?
Is this county-owned property that you're looking at?
This is, there was one that's county-owned, there's one that's not. It's just like the Dogtown issue. It will depend upon where we can get the volume and the turnoff and the electrical. There's multiple components that we have to deal with. On one piece of property, it has been volunteered to take the existing structures down free of cost. The other ones, we're going to have to do some clearing. Each site has its own advantages and disadvantages, but as far as traffic flow and location, as y'all all know, you got one in each location. And to be able to pull the traffic off of the main routes is one of the best locations, because right now in the Dank, Sun, Gravel Lick area, not to say anything bad about our partners or our surrounding counties, we're getting trash from other counties. So I guess when you build them well, they come to you. Well, we don't want your trash. I mean, sorry.
Well, I know when we took office, we looked at the leases and all that, and we saved the taxpayers a lot of money by owning a lot of the structures that we could own. If we can get the property itself, I think that's really impressive. I think we need more man sites.
And that's a good point. We got rid of the leases and we're continuing. The next one that we'll be looking at is in the Honaker area. Yes.
Now, the building, somebody has offered to take the building down?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That would be the only drawdown that I see. I think you're accomplishing a couple of things. Getting rid of that old structure, it's an eyesore, right?
It is an eyesore.
Plus, you're, making a nice facility there. And ultimately, we're going to have to talking, I've been talking to Carl about this, some way for them to identify the vehicles coming in, especially if we're moving closer to the Dickinson County line. Are we gonna eventually look at stickers or something along that line?
That is one of the things that we're looking at, and that way we can give, of course, free of charge, and put them in with their
Make sure you say that again, free of charge, right,
free of
Rebecca?
charge.
Free of charge.
Well, I think we need to go ahead and start looking at it, because that'll be a prime location right there.
It will be a prime location. It catches 3, 4 areas in one location. So again, one of the things we got that y'all wanted to look at was consolidated sites in these, but you're also looking at altering the hours to see what works best in each area. And the next step would be what we call litter stickers, quote unquote litter stickers, that each county resident will get based off their number of cars. That way we'll send them out. If you have 2 cars and you have them registered in Russell County, you will get 2 stickers, again, free of charge. So it's got to have a mechanism in to where, like mentioned before, where we set Russell County, 7 counties touch our borders, 7. And during the pandemic, believe it or not, as big, as massive as Horseshoe County, and I hope they're listening, they came across the line to bring it to us. Down in Moccasin, Tim knows, they come down into Dogtown. They came across. We had, Buchanan, Dixon, Tazewell, because their trash sites were closed. Russell County Board of Supervisors was the only county in southwest Virginia that kept their trash sites open during the pandemic full time, period.
Well, you kept saying cost savings, cost savings. Take that cost savings and open them longer for all the residents to be able to have accessibility after work. That's the biggest complaint I get.
Well,
is
I think once we get all man sites, then we can set uniform hours for
Yes, sir.
every location.
and
So
we need
nobody has to ask, is
That's
this one open? They're all the
Yes.
same.
Yeah,
All
you
of
need to
the
keep
same.
them all uniform. I mean, people will have to drive, to Blackford, and they say because the other one shut down, and they don't know, and it's really hard. It's very inconvenient for, it's not very convenient for our citizens. So if we can take the savings and implement that, investment back into the community, I think we'll be doing a good job.
And just even from moving, and I'll use the example of Carbo, and I'll make just a short, as far as Carbo and moving it to Cleveland. How we save money is, instead of doing the 3 to 4 trips a week into that area, picking up the cans and utilize that manpower and equipment, now we do 1 trip a week. We can compact this stuff in to where we can make this efficient.
Well, I heard the only complaint I've got is the buyers don't like you too much, but other than that, I mean, that was a buyer haven.
Miss Wallace, she conveyed that to me today. The buyers now. Yes. She has a family down there that visits often.
Could I say this? The
Yes,
amount
sir.
that your money you're saying you're saving,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna man these other sites, is that savings more or less than what you're gonna be out manning these sites?
No, right now, just with us taking this over, going to the man site, and these are the real numbers, I mean real dollars. Over $400,000 has been saved in Russell County a year per year. So this is what bringing it in on disposal, bringing it in on efficiency of operations, that's real numbers. So next on the county administrator reports is of course, the budget. That this leads into it too. I just wanted to point out that this month that we will be compiling our projections on revenue and expenditures for the next upcoming year, and we also have the budget committee will have 2 meetings this year to start the process. So all the departments have submitted all the requests. Of course, as usual, all Russell County departments are very conservative when they ask, especially, and even during this pandemic, I think they got more conservative. They ask for what it takes to run. So, the request is almost exactly or less than they were in previous years. They're very conservative when they ask for the request. Next, on the county administrator request is, of course, this is into the broadband on the CARES money. This is I need a approval for payment for the CARES broadband fund. This is for point broadband on the flats for $155,000 for the hookup into the flats area that was awarded as a grant to Russell County to put broadband into the flat circle. Now, we have other applications that are currently standing in Richmond, waiting for approval, depending upon what the House and Senate of the U.S. does. So we hope those will come down later, along with the other funding to be able to do some more other broadband projects that we had discussed and met on during the last board meeting and have met with Cumberland Plateau in the meantime. Yeah,
All right,
this
with
is
that,
the,
we
it is,
need a motion to, pay for this, get this through. The work has already been done, and this is a drawdown on this grant money. So do we have a motion to?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Steve.
I'll second it. Oh,
Second, Lou. Any further discussion?
I was gonna tell Lonzo, it took me a while to find out on the payments where that $155,000 was going, but I finally.
you finally,
All those in favor for paying this drawdown for this grant? Tim?
Yes.
David?
yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes.
thank you, Madam Chair. Last on the county administrator request is, of course, a request for our, in our building office, as you've seen them here, is the training to the Virginia VBCOA for a virtual training. That's the new methodology now. They're charging, they're still, but it's at a reduced cost, it's $50. So for training, it's still a lot cheaper than the travel and the training. Yes, they have to pay the instructor, so I asked for a request for approval for for Bridget McLaughlin to attend the virtual VBCOA conference.
She'll be
Need
in
a
her.
motion.
All right. Do we have a motion to pay this $50 fee for her virtual conference?
I'll make it.
David, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Steve? Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Tim?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Morris?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes.
Madam Chair, that concludes the county administrator reports and requests.
This time with their amended agenda, we are to have an executive session.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Do we have a second? David? All right. All those in favor? Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
And Rebecca? Yes. All right, we will go into executive session for personnel discussion.